Hello my friends. If you're like me and you've been asking yourself how you can get your sorceress through hardcore, then I have a build for you. Especially, I tried a lot of hardcore builds for the sorceress, and they all died at some point, either to the Titan or to other things. Maybe they were one-shotted, or they were killed off by a boss. And I finally found the build in which I made it through the first 3 acts in hardcore. And I think it is a way in which everyone else can do it too. It's not very expensive, it's not very hard to play. It actually feels like easy mode compared to a lot of other things I've done so far. Especially I played through Sorceress in softcore, which was a lot of fun, but she ended up dying a lot. And then I started playing hardcore. I tried around a little bit with different builds, and also I played the Infernalist for a while because I thought this one was that kind of made me realize how strong minions are. So basically what I did was build the sorceress around minions, which is also quite viable. And as you can see, I have not picked an ascendancy yet, which also would make this way stronger, but I couldn't decide yet for which ascendancy to go. But let's go and jump in so you can see a little bit of gameplay before I kind of elaborate on the build. So this is me. I look more like a tank, and that is not by accident. I will jump to Act 3. This one I just finished with my sorceress, but she doesn't play much like a sorceress. So basically we can go to let's go to Apex of Filth. It's a level 41 map. I'm level 47 by now, but still you can see how it works. So this is me. I have a lot of armor, I have a shield, I have a scepter, and you can see these few minions running around. 2 of them are warrior minions, which come from my scepter, and 4 of them are frostmages, which come from my spirit. So basically you need a little bit of spirit to make this work, and I am a very tanky. I have 62% armor reduction at the moment, so every damage that comes in is reduced by 62%. I also have the shield, so if I can hide behind the shield. If there's too much damage coming in, it looks like this. She will block basically everything that comes along. So if I go in and I remove my minions for now, let's do it like this. Now I only have the 2 skeletal warriors, and if I put up the shield, you can hear that the shield will block most of the incoming hits. So basically I don't lose any HP. Now even if they hit me, I have a lot of HP and it won't hurt me that much. So basically this is my survivability. I have a lot of resistances, 75, 75, 60. That's what I focus on. And if I put up my frostmages here, you can see the frostmages will start dealing a lot of damage to the enemies. So these are little blue ones. They are already a bit stronger than the normal ones. And this is not it. Basically, I want to stay alive all the time, so I'm built very, very tanky around the shield and everything. This is this was chaos damage, I think, so that's why it dealt quite a bit of damage to me. That's the only weakness, basically, if you don't have chaos resistances. And what you're gonna do is basically just buff all your minions all the time. So basically for this you have the firewall, which will make your minions gain fire damage. Basically when you shoot through a firewall, it says ignites as though dealing damage. So basically projectiles which pass through the firewall deal 20 to 29 added fire damage, which is quite nice, especially because my skeletal mages have 3 projectiles each with the scatter shot, which basically means they deal, we can look here into the ice shards, they at the moment deal around 180 to 280 damage and get added on top 20 to 29. So this is around 10% added fire damage, which is quite nice. Firewall you can always put up, and if it's between ice mages and the monsters, it will get 20% or 10% damage on top. So basically the next thing you want to do is the frostbomb. The frostbomb gives the enemies what is it called here? It's called cold exposure. So basically the cold exposure means that you will they get 20% reduced resistances or more damage from cold spells. And if that is not enough, like if you want to fight bosses which are very strong, you can even use this spell, frostbite or hypothermia. Basically it will put down this curse and it will reduce enemy resistances of about 40%. So this is basically the whole build. And let's go through all the skills I'm using. I'm using the skeletal warrior. I have the skeletal warrior on my scepter. I always make sure that the level matches my level. So basically I always try to find a level 11 if I'm level 40 plus, but this one is not the most important because the skeletal warriors won't do much damage. They basically just run around and soak up a little bit damage from the enemies so that your mages won't get hit on. So basically I put in here brutality, overpower and demolisher. Basically they are, I don't even know if this one works. These guys are supposed to stun enemies. I don't know if that actually works, but as I said, these guys are just cannon fodder basically. They don't do anything. Then you have the raised shield, comes from your shield. And I didn't think this is really that amazing, but it is. The shield is the most overpowered thing. If you can use the shield with a lot of HP so that it doesn't get broken that easily, then it is amazing because it will guarantee that you stay alive even if you're swarmed by a lot of mobs. So this one is very nice. Power Siphon comes from my secondary, which I never use. Then I have here Spark. So basically I have a spark in here which can go through the firewall, so it deals some damage, but basically just tickles the enemies. It does absolutely nothing at all. So you can put in here whatever you want to. Most important here, one of the most important skill is the flame wall. I have it with fortress and it costs less. So basically you can put in whatever you want here. Fortress is nice though because you can just put the fortress around your ice mages or next to the enemies. Then the enemies will be ignited, which also deals a little bit of damage, I think around like 10% fire damage, and it will add 10% of fire damage to your frostmage's shots. Then the most important skill is the frostmage. They need spirit to work. So basically I have around 160 spirit, which gives me 4 of these really beautiful frostmages. The most important thing here is the scatter shot. It will make so that they deal 20% less damage but have 2 additional projectiles, so each of them shoots 3 times, which is really nice. And then I gave them arcane tempo, which means they shoot even faster. This one by now I upgraded to 3, so they got another of these gems, and I supported this skill with additional 30% damage, but also it means they get 20% more damage. And then we have hypothermia, which is a curse which reduces the cold resistance of the enemies. You can put in here heightened curse, which increases the effectiveness. Without it, it would only deal 32% cold resistance. And you can also increase the area of effect, which also increases the cooldown. But then you don't want to use this all the time, so it doesn't matter if you have a longer cooldown on this. The frostbomb, as I said before, it gives cold exposure to enemies, which is nice. It just adds 20% damage on top, which is really nice. You could also increase the gem quality to increase this effect a little bit. And there's also passives in the skill tree, which have increased this effect as well. For now, I just use the normal one. And I have the one where Spell Cascade will put 3 of them in my screen. So basically it looks like this. It will add 3 of them in a row. And then more of the enemies will have the exposure on. And what else do I have? I have increased area of effect again. Then I have Pain Offering. Pain Offering will just, you can see it here. It will kill one of your own minions. I always use one of the warriors because they're useless. And then these guys will have increased damage and increased rate of attacks. So this is actually quite nice if you want to kill a boss very quickly. Then you just put one of your warriors on a stake, and it will motivate your other minions to deal even more damage. So basically, these here just make sure that the pain offering will last longer, and this one will make it a bit more tanky, so it doesn't get killed often that easy. And I also put in the storm mage here already, but I have never used it before. It is just for also the idea behind Spark, that I will shock enemies so they will gain 20% more damage. But it hasn't, I'm not there yet where I can effectively shock enemies as well. So this is the idea. You have your frostmages and a little bit of tanky guys to deal a lot of damage. And later on, you can also go for skeletal reavers and other things. But this is basically a build which is very, very tanky. You have a lot of HP. I will show you my equipment as well. This one is a helmet I traded. Really nice. It has +2 to level of all minions. A lot of armor. A little bit of resistances. So this one is really amazing for this build. My rattling scepter gives my allies increased damage, which is very nice. It also has +2 to level to all of minion skills. The plus level of minion skills is the best thing to boost your skeletal mages, basically, because this will increase a lot of the damage. And it gives me the level 11 skeletal warrior and gives minions increased life, so this is also very nice. Then the amulet. It also gives +1 to level of all minion skills. As I said, the plus minion skills is the most important thing to boost your frostmage damage. It gives me also a little bit of life, and most important, it also adds increased armor. I didn't even know you can have this on the amulet, but I found this one, and this is also really amazing. So this amulet gives me, you can see this, my armor jumps from 55% to 62% reduction. So this is really, really nice. And then my rings give me resistances, life, strength. Strength also gives life, so this is really nice. Resistances, life, these kind of things. Armor on the plate, life, resistances, life, armor, resistances, life, armor, resistances, and then again life, armor, resistances on the belt. So this build is really, really nice. And basically, I don't know which ascendancy I'm gonna pick yet. The ascendancy is, you have two options. You can go for Chronomancer, which boosts your, let's peek here into the passive tree. So basically I went this way. I went here with recoup damage as life in the beginning to make him even more tanky. And then I went to this tree here, which kind of increases the minion damage. Then I went to this one here, which is the best one for, because it reduces reservation, and then you can get damage and maximum life on the minions. And on this one you get another damage, elemental resistances, maximum life, and mainly a lot of damage for your minion. So this gives 40% plus 25, 65% extra damage again. And this is basically the build I'm here at now with level 47. And there's a few things you can still go for. So this is really nice, increased code exposure effect. This and this would give another 40% increased code exposure to your frostbomb. So this is actually really, really nice. Then you have a lot of skills which will also help your minions. So if you search for minions here, this here will increase minion damage. These here are quite nice. And there's another option you can go for, which is increasing your armor. So basically, if you go up to the left here, what you can do is take regeneration, recoup this life, and go down here. This one is especially nice, 80% increased armor of equipped body armor. Then you get a lot of 50% increased armor, which is really nice for your armor. And this whole thing here, increase armor, and this one, defend with 200% of armor against critical hits. Awesome. So this is something I am not sure where I will go next, but you can, if you follow this channel, I'm gonna update this as much as possible. So, but yeah, this is my build, which I reached cruelty for the first time in hardcore. So I've been playing this for a few weeks now, and I really love this game so far. But I found it very hard to make a source through softcore or through the first 3 acts of hardcore. But yeah, this is basically the build, and now I will show you a recording of me slaying the last boss of Act 3. And yes, if you liked it, yeah, swing by my Twitch as well, which I will link down below. I'm called Der Dilettant. And also you can look at the build guides, which I will update regularly. So thank you for watching and see you guys soon. Bye bye.
So, at the eve of the end, the demon of Hatsuatl has finally come for
cannot be saved. History is already written. You can stay here and die, or come with us and help save the future.
The legacy of Rival must be protected. I do know of a way to contain the beast.
Let's just start talking then. My friend here isn't exactly the peacemaker